Hey, what's going on, YouTube? So today I really wanted to touch on something very important in your dating game, and that is confidence. And more specifically, what might be causing a lack of it. So when we dive in and people kind of ask me about that, I actually invite them to look inward a little bit. And what I mean by that is if you don't have confidence in a situation, it might be due to inexperience, but also it might be due to a misalignment in what's going on inside you. So I really wanted to dive into that today and see, what do I mean by a misalignment? Well, there's a number of things that could cause you to not be confident when it comes to dating. It could be maybe the last relationship that you were in, you have a lot of baggage from it. Maybe it was very toxic. Maybe you were hurt very badly by it. Or maybe like a couple months ago, you tried to approach a woman and she rejected you and it just hit you in a specific way. You could be going through a depressive episode. I mean, there's just a number of different things, but what a lot of that stuff is kind of caused by is just a misalignment internally. And just diving deeper into it, a misalignment is more like when you just don't feel confident in a certain thing and it starts to rub off. So when you're misaligned in one area, it kind of has a ripple effect to the others, right? So like in my personal life, I feel like I'm pretty well aligned. Like my career is going pretty well and my home life is well aligned, and the relationship with my wife is pretty solid, and I have a high amount of faith. So like all that stuff just lines up pretty well, and I'm not ashamed of anything. I'm not afraid of my faults, really, and I have plenty. So, and there's some humility there, right? I don't have, I have confidence, but not a ton of pride, or at least that's something I work on every day. So like I just feel very well aligned. Get enough sleep. I drink a lot of water. Like there's just a lot of things that kind of line up. But when you don't have a lot of confidence in your dating game, I would say, well, let's look at your own life and your own internal thought process and just see what is misaligned. So I would invite you to just meditate on it, kind of dive deep and think about, okay, well, this girl hurt me 2 years ago, and that has made me so afraid to get into another serious relationship that every time it starts to get serious, I get anxiety and I really back off the relationship. Well, then you're not aligned with getting into that deeper relationship. And you really, it's simply asking yourself just a matter of why, and then starting to figure out for yourself kind of that solution. So as a dating coach, that's exactly what I would do, right? Like I'd be like, well, if it was, let's say it is that example, it's, a couple months ago you got out of a relationship and that really hurt you. Well, or that person was really toxic and hurt you. The thing is it's kind of, I feel like you could make the analogy to anything, just because you have let's say a car that, well, your old car might have been beat up and not working in some ways, right? But when you sell that car or throw it in the junkyard and you get a new car, the new car doesn't have these same issues as the old one. And I know it's a crude analogy, but I think the same thing can really be applied to relationships. So just because your ex-girlfriend was like maybe super toxic or hurt you really bad, it doesn't mean that the next girlfriend will do that, right? And something simple like that to a hurt person, can really start to open your mind. And number two, it's always helped me when I've come across somebody, like when I've been hurting emotionally, when I hear about somebody else that's going through something similar, it really helps me. So I would actually reach out to that person too and just say, I've been there. I've been hurt very badly by relationships in the past, by women. and it doesn't feel good. But what's awesome is once you can mourn and acknowledge that relationship, you can start to move forward. So I know I'm getting off on a tangent, but getting back to the original topic of confidence, well, if you're lacking in it, I would just invite you to see and look deep in yourself and find what's misaligned, and just see if you can start to take steps to get better. It's usually not a flick of the switch, it's usually a turn of the dial. But again, take the necessary steps emotionally to start getting better. So maybe you watch this, right? You go watch another YouTube about how to get over relationships, how to get over past trauma. Maybe you need like the next level to actually like see an actual therapist that has that degree and certifications, or like whatever it is you need. You start to take the necessary steps to become a more complete person. You get back in alignment, and then you know that you have nothing to fear. Another aspect might be like maybe you're just afraid to approach the opposite sex, right? Like in an in-person situation, or maybe even online, you know, you get some shakes trying to message somebody. Completely get it, but again, it's a misalignment of there's some kind of illogical fear that's holding you back from taking that action, right? So again, as a dating coach, and I'm not trying to like flex or like advertise too hard, but as a dating coach, I would help you to say, well, even if you go up to that girl and you get rejected hard, like she tells you to buzz off or whatever the situation is, she rejects you really hard, well, so what? She doesn't pull out like a knife and stab you, right? Like you don't have like a physical mortal fear, or at least you don't have to. It's an illogical fear, it's a phobia. So a lot of time having someone coach you through that stuff, those really specific things, can be obnoxiously helpful. I wish I had it when I was 25. I wish I didn't have to learn all this stuff the hard way, but the really cool thing is that I did. I went through relationships, long-term, short-term, bad, good, ugly, dramatic, you name it. I kind of went through it and went from being like the proverbial just dating machine to having an awesome marriage with my wife that we've been here for 5 years. So again, my name is Nate. I'm a dating coach for men. And if this stuff really speaks to you, please subscribe, please like the video, really appreciate that. But I will put my website in the description. It's pattersoncoachingwny.com. I'd invite you to visit it. It's just a brief Facebook website, but what it really does is give you the direct contact information to me. And if you're going through any of this stuff as a man, I would really love to help you so that you can get into the long-term awesome relationship that you want, where somebody compliments you instead of drags you down. So again, my name is Nate. Thanks for watching.